Chosen ones, don't take this lightly. The last 3 days of September are dangerous, and the universe is whispering a warning to you. From September 28th to 30th, a powerful spiritual shift is coming, one that could shake the very foundation of your journey if you're not prepared. These 3 days carry an energy so intense, so charged, that even the heavens are urging you to pause, stay silent, and guard your spirit. You're not just anyone. You're a chosen one, marked by God for a purpose greater than you can imagine. But with that calling comes a responsibility to protect your light, especially now. Something monumental is stirring, and your silence during these days will be your shield, your strength, your divine weapon. The world around you is chaotic, filled with noise, distractions, doubts, and voices trying to pull you away from your path. But these final days of September are no ordinary days. They're a cosmic crossroads, a moment where the spiritual realm is more active than ever. Energies, both light and dark, are colliding, and you, as a chosen one, are at the center of this storm. God is calling you to stillness, to retreat into silence on September 28th, 29th, and 30th, because your spirit needs to hear His voice above the chaos. This isn't about fear, it's about power. Your silence will align you with divine protection, shielding you from forces that seek to disrupt your destiny. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against a raging storm. The waves crash, the winds howl, but the lighthouse doesn't waver. It shines brighter because of the darkness. That's you during these 3 days. By staying silent, you're not hiding. You're anchoring yourself in God's presence. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It's a deliberate act of strength, a choice to shut out the world's noise and listen to the divine whispers guiding your next steps. The enemy thrives in chaos, feeding on hasty decisions and reckless words. But when you choose silence, you starve those forces, letting God's clarity flow through you like a river. Now, let's make this real. Pause for a moment, hit that like button, and type 707 in the comments below. That number carries the energy of divine completion, a signal to the universe that you're ready to stand firm in these dangerous days. Your action isn't just for you. It's a declaration that you're part of a community of chosen ones, thousands of souls walking this path together. Subscribe to join them, to stay connected to this divine message. Your commitment amplifies the light, not just for you, but for everyone watching. Why are these 3 days so critical? Because September's end marks a spiritual threshold. The last days of this month are like a doorway between seasons, where the old is stripped away as the new begins to take shape. God is preparing you for a breakthrough, but breakthroughs come with tests. The enemy knows your power is growing, and they'll try to sow confusion, doubt, or conflict to derail you. On September 28th, 29th, and 30th, the spiritual atmosphere will be heavy with these challenges. Your silence is your defense, a way to stay grounded in God's truth while the world tries to pull you off course. Think of Noah standing firm in his faith while the world mocked him. He didn't argue or defend himself. He built the ark in silence, trusting God's plan. That's what you're called to do now. Silence doesn't mean you stop living. It means you move with intention, speaking only what aligns with your purpose, avoiding arguments, gossip, or distractions. Every word you hold back, every impulsive reaction you resist, becomes a brick in the fortress God is building around you. Your restraint is your rebellion against the chaos trying to claim you. The danger in these days isn't just external, it's internal too. Your mind can become a battlefield, with thoughts of fear, doubt, or unworthiness creeping in. The enemy loves to whisper lies, especially when you're on the verge of something great. But here's the truth: you're not defined by those thoughts. You're defined by God's promise over your life. Silence allows you to hear His voice louder than the lies. It's like tuning a radio to the right frequency. When you quiet the static, the signal comes through clear. Type 777 in the comments again, chosen ones. to affirm you're tuning into God's frequency, ready to receive His guidance. Your silence is also a magnet for divine revelation. When you step back from the noise, you create space for God to speak. Maybe it's a vision of your next step, a sudden clarity about a decision, or a peace that washes over you like a wave. These 3 days are a sacred pause, a moment to reset before October's new chapter unfolds. God is preparing something extraordinary for you, but you need to be still to receive it. Like Moses on the mountain, waiting in silence for God's words, your stillness invites divine instructions that will carry you forward. The world will try to pull you into its drama during these days. People might provoke you, situations might test your patience, and distractions will pile up. But you're not ordinary. You're a chosen one. Your response isn't to react, but to reflect. When someone tries to drag you into conflict, smile and walk away. When the urge to overshare hits, hold your tongue. This isn't about suppressing yourself, it's about protecting your energy. Every moment you choose silence, you're choosing God's peace over the world's chaos. That's power the enemy can't touch. Let's talk about what's at stake. These 3 days could determine the trajectory of your next season. If you let the noise overwhelm you, you risk missing the divine alignment God is orchestrating. But if you stay silent, you position yourself for a breakthrough that will echo into October and beyond. Imagine stepping into the new month with clarity, strength, and a renewed sense of purpose. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of this challenge. Type 777 in the comments, one more time, declaring you're ready to claim that future. History shows us what happens when God's chosen stay steadfast. Look at Daniel in the lion's den. He didn't plead or panic. He trusted God in silence, and the lions couldn't touch him. Your silence during these 3 days is your lion's den moment. The dangers around you, whether spiritual or emotional, lose their power when you stand firm in God's presence. You're not just surviving these days, you're thriving, preparing for a season of abundance that's closer than you think. Your silence isn't just about you, it's a beacon for others. When you choose to stay calm, to guard your words, you show the world what it means to walk in divine strength. People around you, even those who don't understand your path, will notice the peace you carry. Your light will draw them, just like it draws every force in the spiritual realm. You're not just a chosen one, you're a living testimony of God's power, a walking proof that His promises hold true, even in dangerous times. As September 28th approaches, start preparing now. Set your intention to stay silent, to avoid unnecessary conversations, and to focus on your connection with God. This isn't about isolating yourself, it's about insulating your spirit. Spend time in prayer, meditate on His word, or simply sit in stillness, letting His presence fill you. The world can wait. Your social media, your emails, your arguments, they can all pause for 3 days. What can't wait is your alignment with God's plan. The spiritual weight of these days is like a storm gathering on the horizon. You can feel it. The air is heavy, the energy is shifting, but you're not meant to be swept away. You're meant to stand tall, rooted in faith, unshaken by the winds. Silence is your anchor, keeping you steady while the world spins. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the most powerful thing a chosen one can do, trusting God completely. Your stillness is a declaration that no force, seen or unseen, can move you from your purpose. Let's make this moment count. Type 777 in the comments one last time, sealing your commitment to stay silent and strong. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking this journey, standing together in faith. Your presence here, your choice to listen, isn't random, it's divine. God led you to this message because He's preparing you for what's coming. The last 3 days of September are dangerous, but you're not alone. You're armed with silence, guided by God, and destined for greatness. The enemy might try to test you, but they don't know who they're dealing with. You're not just a person, you're a force, a vessel of God's light, chosen to shine when the world grows dark. These 3 days are your moment to prove it. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you're claiming victory. Every time you resist the urge to react, you're stepping closer to the breakthrough God has promised. The danger is real, but so is your power. You're ready for this, chosen one. Imagine the clarity you'll feel on October 1st, stepping into a new month with a spirit renewed and a heart aligned with God's will. These 3 days of silence aren't just a test, they're a transformation. You're shedding the weight of the world, letting go of distractions, and stepping into a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more connected to your divine purpose. God is using this moment to refine you, to prepare you for the abundance waiting just beyond the horizon. The world might not understand why you're pulling back, why you're choosing silence over engagement. That's okay. They don't need to understand. God does. Your silence is a sacred act, a covenant between you and the divine. It's a promise that you trust His timing, His plan, His protection. When you walk through these 3 days with intention, you're not just surviving, you're setting the stage for miracles. The gates of heaven are opening, and your silence is the key that unlocks them. Think of Esther, standing before the king, risking everything for her people. She didn't rush in with words or demands. She prepared, she prayed, she waited in silence for God's guidance. And when the moment came, her courage changed history. You're in your Esther moment now. These 3 days are your preparation, your time to align with God's purpose before you step into the next chapter of your story. Silence isn't empty. It's full of divine potential, waiting for you to claim it. The spiritual realm is watching, chosen one. The forces that seek to derail you are active, but so is God's protection. Your silence is a shield, deflecting every arrow, every whisper, every lie. It's a reminder that you don't need to fight every battle with words. Sometimes, your greatest strength is in what you don't say. By staying silent, you're letting God fight for you, letting His power move through you in ways that no enemy can withstand. As you prepare for September 28th, 29th, and 30th, know that you're not alone. Thousands of chosen ones are walking this path with you, holding space, standing firm. Your silence connects you to them, to God, to the divine plan unfolding. This isn't just about surviving 3 days. It's about stepping into a new season of power, clarity, and purpose. You're ready, chosen one. The danger is real, but your light is stronger. Stay silent, stay strong, and watch God move mountains for you. Chosen ones, as you stand on the edge of these 3 critical days, September 28th, 29th, and 30th, know that your silence is more than a pause. It's a sacred rebellion against the forces that want to dim your light. The world thrives on noise, on hasty words and reckless actions, but you're called to something higher. By choosing silence, you're stepping into a divine rhythm, one that aligns your spirit with God's perfect timing. This isn't about retreating from life. It's about reclaiming your power, tuning out the distractions, and letting your soul resonate with the frequency of heaven. The spiritual currents during these days will be like a river in flood season, wild, unpredictable, and capable of sweeping away anything not firmly rooted. Your silence is your anchor, grounding you in God's truth while the world around you churns. The enemy will try to provoke you, to pull you into arguments or decisions that feel urgent but lead nowhere. Don't fall for it. Every time you hold your tongue, you're building a wall of divine protection around your destiny. Your restraint is a signal to the universe that you trust God's plan over the world's chaos. Picture a warrior in ancient times, standing still before a battle, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They know the fight isn't won by rushing in blindly. It's won by waiting for the right moment, by listening for the signal to strike. That's you right now. Your silence during these 3 days is your strategy, your way of listening for God's signal. The world might see it as passivity, but in the spiritual realm, it's a declaration of strength. You're not just waiting, you're preparing, aligning, and positioning yourself for the victory God has already secured. The energy of these days will test your resolve. You might feel pressure to speak up, to defend yourself, or to chase after opportunities that seem urgent. But urgency is often a trap. The enemy uses it to make you act before you're ready, to pull you away from God's timing. Silence allows you to see through the illusion, to discern what's real and what's a distraction. It's like standing in a crowded room, closing your eyes and hearing only the voice that matters. God's voice will guide you through these days, but only if you make space to hear it. Think of David facing Goliath. He didn't shout or boast. He stood in quiet confidence, knowing God was with him. His silence wasn't weakness, it was faith in action. You're facing your own giants during these 3 days, whether they're doubts, fears, or external pressures. Your silence is your slingshot, your weapon of faith. By staying still, you're letting God aim the stone, trusting He'll hit the mark. Every moment you choose not to react, you're handing the battle to Him, and He never misses. These 3 days are also a time to protect your vision. God has planted dreams in your heart, seeds of purpose that are ready to bloom, but the enemy wants to uproot them before they take hold. Silence is your way of guarding those seeds, keeping them safe from the winds of doubt or the storms of criticism. When you stay quiet, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're nurturing the future God has promised. Every unspoken word is like water to those seeds, helping them grow stronger in the soil of your faith. The world might tempt you to compare yourself to others during these days. Social media, conversations, even your own thoughts might whisper that you're falling behind, that you need to act now or miss out. But comparison is a thief, and it has no place in a chosen one's heart. Your path is unique, written by God's hand, and no one else's journey can define yours. Silence helps you tune out those lies, letting you focus on the truth. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and God's timing is perfect. Consider Ruth, who walked a path no one else could understand. She didn't chase after the approval of others or try to prove herself with words. She moved in quiet obedience, trusting God's plan, and He led her to a destiny beyond her wildest dreams. Your silence during these 3 days is your Ruth moment, a time to trust, to move with intention, and to let God guide you to the fields of favor He's prepared. The world might not see it yet, but your harvest is coming. Your silence is also a gift to those around you. When you choose not to engage in drama, you create a ripple effect of peace. People will notice the calm you carry, the way you don't get pulled into the chaos. They might not say it, but your presence will challenge them to rethink their own reactions, their own choices. You're not just protecting yourself, you're showing others what it looks like to walk in divine strength. Your light shines brighter when you refuse to let the world dim it with noise. The spiritual realm is always active, but these 3 days will feel like a cosmic spotlight is on you. The enemy knows you're a chosen one, and they'll try to exploit any crack in your armor. But silence seals those cracks, making you untouchable. It's like a force field, deflecting every attack, every lie, every attempt to pull you off course. By staying quiet, you're not just avoiding trouble, you're claiming authority over it, declaring that no force can shake what God has built in you. Think of Jesus in the wilderness, facing temptation after 40 days of fasting. He didn't argue with the devil or try to prove his worth. He spoke only what was necessary, rooted in God's word, and his silence in the face of lies was his greatest weapon. You're walking through your own wilderness now, and your silence is your sword. Every time you choose not to respond to provocation, you're cutting through the enemy's plans, clearing the way for God's promises to take root. These 3 days are a sacred threshold, a moment where the veil between the physical and spiritual is thin. Your silence allows you to cross that threshold with clarity, to see what's waiting on the other side. God is preparing you for something new. New doors, new opportunities, new strength. But you can't step into that future if you're tangled in the noise of the present. Silence untangles you, freeing you to walk boldly into what's next. It's not about shutting down, it's about opening up to God's plan. The world will keep moving, but you don't have to move with it. These 3 days are your chance to step out of the current, to stand still while the chaos rushes by. Your silence is a statement that you're not bound by the world's rhythm. You're bound by God's. And His rhythm is one of peace, purpose, and power. By staying quiet, you're aligning yourself with that rhythm, letting it carry you into a season of breakthroughs that will leave the world in awe. Look at Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned, forgotten. Yet he didn't complain or demand justice. He waited in silence, trusting God's plan, and in time, he rose to a position of power no one could have predicted. Your silence during these 3 days is your Joseph moment, a time to trust, to wait, to let God work behind the scenes. The world might not see it now, but He's preparing a palace for you, a place of influence and impact that will testify to His faithfulness. Your silence is also a way to honor the calling on your life. As a chosen one, you carry a responsibility to steward your energy wisely. Every word you speak, every reaction you give, carries weight in the spiritual realm. By choosing silence, you're choosing to invest that energy in what matters. Your connection with God, your alignment with His purpose. It's like saving your strength for the race that's ahead, knowing the finish line is closer than it seems. The danger of these days lies in their intensity. The spiritual atmosphere will be charged, like the air before a thunderstorm. You might feel it in your spirit, a restlessness, a sense that something big is coming. That's why silence is so crucial. It's your way of staying grounded, of keeping your eyes fixed on God while the storm rages. You're not ignoring the danger, you're rising above it, standing firm in the truth that no force can touch what God has ordained for you. Imagine a tree in a storm, its roots deep in the earth, unshaken by the wind. That's you during these 3 days. Your silence is your roots, keeping you steady while the world shakes. The enemy might try to uproot you, but they can't touch what's anchored in God. Every moment you choose stillness, you're digging those roots deeper, making yourself stronger for the season ahead. The storm will pass, and you'll still be standing, ready for the harvest God has promised. Your silence is also a way to reclaim your time. The world loves to steal it. Endless notifications, demands, and distractions pulling you in every direction. But these 3 days are yours to take back. By staying silent, you're saying no to the world's chaos and yes to God's order. You're carving out space for reflection, for prayer, for the kind of deeper connection that changes everything. This isn't about doing less. It's about being more, becoming the chosen one God created you to be. Think of Elijah, waiting in the cave for God's voice. It wasn't in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire. It was in the still, small voice. Your silence during these 3 days is your cave, your place to hear God's whisper. The world will try to drown it out, but you have the power to choose what you listen to. By staying quiet, you're tuning into that still, small voice, letting it guide you through the danger and into the promise of what's next. The spiritual weight of September 28th, 29th, and 30th is a call to vigilance. The enemy knows your potential, and they'll try to distract you with small battles to keep you from the big victory. But you're not fighting for scraps. You're fighting for your destiny. Silence is your strategy, your way of staying focused on the bigger picture. Every time you resist the urge to engage, you're stepping closer to the breakthrough God has prepared, a breakthrough that will redefine your future. Your silence is also a form of worship, a way to honor God's presence in your life. When you choose to be still, You're acknowledging that He's in control, that His plans are greater than your own. It's like bowing before a king, not out of fear, but out of reverence. These 3 days are your offering, a time to lay down your need to speak, to act, to prove yourself, and simply trust. That trust is what sets you apart as a chosen one, what makes you a vessel for God's power. The world might try to pull you into its pace, but you're not bound by its rules. These 3 days are your chance to break free, to step into a rhythm that's divine, not dictated by deadlines or demands. Silence is your rebellion against the ordinary, your declaration that you're living for something greater. As a chosen one, you're called to move differently, to see differently, to be different. These 3 days are your moment to embody that calling, to show the world what it means to walk in God's light. Look at Mary, the mother of Jesus, who pondered things in her heart rather than speaking them aloud. Her silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom, a way of holding space for God's miracles. Your silence during these 3 days is your Mary moment, a time to ponder, to trust, to let God work in ways you can't yet see. The world might not understand, but the heavens do. Your stillness is a prayer, a surrender, a step toward the miraculous. The danger of these days is real, but so is your strength. The enemy might try to shake you, but they can't move what's rooted in God. Your silence is your foundation, your way of standing firm while the world trembles. It's not about hiding. It's about shining, letting your light burn so brightly that no darkness can touch it. You're a chosen one, and these 3 days are your chance to prove it, not with words, but with the quiet power of faith. As you move through September 28th, 29th, and 30th, carry this truth. Your silence is a weapon, a shield, a key to unlocking God's promises. The world will keep spinning, but you don't have to spin with it. You're called to stand still, to listen, to let God guide you through the storm. The danger is temporary, but the victory is eternal. You're ready for this, chosen one. Your light is stronger than any darkness, and your silence will carry you through. Chosen ones, as you step into the sacred silence of September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're not just pausing, you're claiming a divine authority that shifts the spiritual atmosphere. These 3 days are a battleground, not of words or actions, but of presence. The enemy wants to pull you into the fray, to make you react, to scatter your focus. But your silence is a fortress, a space where God's power flows unbroken. By holding your peace, you're not retreating. You're commanding the battlefield, letting the Holy Spirit fight for you in ways the world can't see. The energy of these days is like a tightrope stretched across a chasm. One misstep, giving in to anger, doubt, or impulsive words, could throw you off balance. But your silence is your steady footing, keeping you centered as you walk this narrow path. The world will tempt you to speak, to defend, to prove your worth. Don't take the bait. Every word you withhold is a step forward, a choice to trust God's plan over the world's demands. Your silence is your balance, your way of crossing the chasm unscathed. Think of a diamond formed under pressure, deep in the earth, hidden from sight. These 3 days are your pressure, your moment of refining. The chaos around you, the spiritual intensity, is shaping you into something unbreakable. Silence allows you to embrace this process, to let God mold you without interference. The world might see your quiet as inaction, but in the spiritual realm, it's transformation. You're becoming a gem, polished by God's hand, ready to shine in the season ahead. Your silence is also a mirror, reflecting God's truth back to you. When you step away from the noise, you see yourself clearly, not the version the world tries to define, but the chosen one God created. These 3 days are a chance to reconnect with that truth, to remember who you are. The enemy wants you to forget, to doubt your calling, to question your worth. But in silence, you hear God's voice saying, "You are mine." That truth is your anchor, unshakable no matter what comes. Consider Hannah, who prayed in silence when her heart was breaking. She didn't shout her pain to the world, she poured it out to God, and He answered with a miracle. Your silence during these 3 days is your Hannah prayer, a quiet offering of trust that moves heaven. You don't need to broadcast your struggles or your faith. God hears the cries of your heart, and in your stillness, He's preparing answers that will change your story. The spiritual stakes of these days are high because you're on the verge of a shift. September's end is a hinge, swinging you from one season to another. The enemy knows this, and they'll try to keep you stuck in the old habits, old fears, old battles. Silence is your way of breaking free, of stepping into the new. It's like shedding a skin that no longer fits, letting go of what holds you back. Every moment you stay quiet, you're moving closer to the version of yourself God is calling forth. The world will try to fill your silence with noise, endless notifications, urgent demands, voices questioning your path. But you're not here to answer to the world. You're here to answer to God. Your silence is your refusal to let the world dictate your pace. It's a declaration that you're moving to a higher rhythm, one set by the Creator Himself. By staying still, you're aligning with His tempo, letting His timing guide your steps. Think of Paul and Silas, imprisoned yet praising God in the quiet of the night. Their silence wasn't despair, it was worship, a trust so deep it shook the prison walls. Your silence during these 3 days is your midnight song, a faith that breaks chains. The world might think you're trapped by the pressures of these days, but you're not. You're free, singing in the dark, knowing God is about to open doors no one can shut. Your silence is also a seed, planted in faith, ready to grow into something extraordinary. Every moment you choose stillness, you're sowing into your future. The world might not see it yet, but God does. He's watching, tending to the seeds you're planting with every quiet moment. These 3 days are your planting season, a time to invest in the harvest coming in October. What you sow in silence, you'll reap in abundance, clarity, strength, and blessings beyond measure. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a fire, burning away what doesn't belong. The enemy wants to use that fire to consume you, to make you react in fear or frustration. But your silence turns the fire into a refining flame, purifying your spirit for what's next. You're not being burned, you're being forged, shaped into a vessel ready for God's purpose. Every moment you stay quiet, you're letting that fire do its work, preparing you for a destiny that shines. Imagine a riverbed, dry and cracked, waiting for rain. Your silence is the rain, filling the empty places in your soul, preparing you for the flow of God's blessings. The world might see your stillness as barren, but it's fertile ground, ready for what God is about to pour out. These 3 days are your preparation, your time to let the riverbed of your heart be filled. When October comes, the waters will flow, and your life will overflow with His goodness. The enemy will try to make you feel alone during these days, whispering that your silence isolates you. But that's a lie. You're not alone. You're connected to God, to thousands of chosen ones walking this path, to a spiritual community that holds you up. Your silence is a bridge, linking you to others who are standing firm, trusting God's plan. Subscribe to join those souls, to be part of a movement that shines light in the darkness. Your presence strengthens us all, chosen one. Think of the Israelites at the Red Sea, standing still as the enemy closed in. They didn't fight or flee. They waited in faith, and God parted the waters. Your silence during these 3 days is your Red Sea moment, a time to stand still and see God's deliverance. The dangers around you are real, but so is His power. By staying quiet, you're giving Him room to move, to make a way where there seems to be none. Trust Him. He's already parting the sea for you. Your silence is also a weapon of discernment, sharpening your ability to see what's true. The world will throw illusions at you, false urgencies, tempting distractions, voices questioning your path. But in silence, you see through them. It's like putting on glasses that cut through the fog, letting you focus on what matters. God is speaking, guiding, showing you the next step. These 3 days are your chance to listen, to let His truth cut through the lies and lead you forward. The spiritual realm is alive with activity during these days, like a chessboard where every move matters. The enemy wants to checkmate you, to trap you in a moment of weakness. But your silence is your counter move, a strategy that keeps you one step ahead. You're not reacting, you're responding, moving with divine wisdom. Every time you hold your peace, you're outmaneuvering the forces that want to stop you, positioning yourself for God's checkmate. Imagine a seed buried in the dark, waiting for the right moment to break through. Your silence is that seed, hidden but powerful, ready to burst into life. The world might not see it yet, but God does. These 3 days are your time in the soil, your moment of hidden growth. When October arrives, you'll break through, stronger and more vibrant than ever. Your silence is the foundation for a breakthrough that will change everything. The danger of these days lies in their subtlety. The enemy won't always come with obvious attacks. Sometimes it's a whisper, a doubt, a small temptation to speak when you shouldn't. But your silence is your shield, protecting you from those subtle traps. It's like a filter, catching every lie before it takes root. By staying quiet, you're keeping your spirit clean, ready for the clarity and power God is pouring into you. Think of John the Baptist, preparing in the wilderness, away from the noise of the world. His silence wasn't isolation. It was preparation, a time to hear God's call clearly. Your silence during these 3 days is your wilderness, your place of preparation. You're not running from the world. You're stepping into God's presence, letting Him equip you for the mission ahead. The world will wait, but your calling won't. Stay silent, stay ready. Your silence is also a gift to your future self. Every moment you choose stillness, you're building a foundation for the days to come. The clarity you gain, the strength you cultivate, the peace you claim, they'll carry you into October and beyond. These 3 days are an investment, a deposit into the bank of your destiny. What you do now in silence will pay dividends in ways you can't yet imagine. The spiritual atmosphere of these days is like a crucible, melting away what's impure and leaving only what's true. The enemy wants to use that heat to break you, but God is using it to refine you. Your silence is your way of cooperating with His process, of letting Him shape you into something stronger, purer, more powerful. You're not just surviving these days. You're being transformed, prepared for a season of victory that will leave the world in awe. Imagine a warrior sharpening their sword before battle, not rushing in, but preparing with care. Your silence is that sharpening, honing your spirit for what's ahead. The world might push you to act, to speak, to prove yourself, but you know better. These 3 days are your time to prepare, to let God refine your edges. When October comes, you'll be ready, your spirit sharp and your heart steady, a warrior equipped for God's purpose. The enemy will try to make you feel small during these days, whispering that your silence is insignificant. But nothing could be further from the truth. Your stillness is a roar in the spiritual realm, a declaration that you're not moved by their tactics. You're a chosen one, and your silence is a testament to your power. It's not about what you say, it's about who you are, standing firm in God's truth, unshaken by the storms around you. Chosen ones, as you embrace the silence of September's 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're stepping into a divine rhythm that sets you apart from the world's chaos. These 3 days are a sacred pause, a moment where the universe holds its breath, waiting for you to align with God's purpose. Your silence isn't just a choice, it's a declaration of trust, a signal that you're ready to receive the clarity and strength God is pouring into you. The spiritual currents are strong, but your stillness is stronger, anchoring you in His unshakable truth. The world will try to pull you into its whirlwind during these days, with demands that feel urgent and distractions that seem harmless. But every moment you choose silence, you're drawing a line in the sand, refusing to be swayed. It's like a captain steering a ship through a storm, keeping a steady hand on the wheel while waves crash around. Your silence is your compass, guiding you through the turbulence, keeping you on course toward the destiny God has charted for you. Think of a potter shaping clay, molding it with care and precision. These 3 days are God's hands on you, refining your spirit, smoothing out the rough edges. The pressure of the world, the spiritual intensity, is part of His process, shaping you into a vessel ready for His purpose. Your silence allows you to yield to that process, to let Him work without resistance. The world might see your stillness as passive, but in God's eyes, it's surrender, a powerful act of faith. Your silence is also a shield against the enemy's arrows. The spiritual realm is alive with activity during these days, and the forces that oppose you will try to pierce your peace with doubt, fear, or temptation. But every time you hold your tongue, you're deflecting those attacks, letting them fall powerless at your feet. It's like standing behind a wall of glass, transparent but unbreakable, letting you see the enemy's moves without being touched by them. Consider Abraham, who waited in faith for God's promise, even when the world called him foolish. He didn't argue or defend his calling. He trusted in silence, and God made him the father of nations. Your silence during these 3 days is your Abraham moment, a time to stand firm in faith even when the world doesn't understand. You're not waiting for nothing, you're waiting for God, and His promises never fail. The spiritual weight of these days is like a tide, pulling at everything not anchored. The enemy wants to drag you into its current, to make you react, to pull you off your path. But your silence is your anchor, keeping you steady. It's not about shutting down, it's about standing tall, letting God's strength flow through you. Every moment you choose stillness, you're resisting the tide, claiming your place in the divine current that leads to victory. Your silence is also a doorway to deeper revelation. When you quiet the noise of the world, you open your spirit to God's whispers, insights, visions, truths that only come in stillness. These 3 days are your chance to hear what the world drowns out, to catch the divine instructions meant just for you. It's like tuning into a hidden frequency, one that carries the secrets of your next season. God is speaking, chosen one. Your silence lets you listen. The enemy will try to make you feel restless during these days, whispering that you're missing out, that you need to act now. But that's their trap, designed to pull you from God's timing. Your silence is your rebellion, your way of saying no to their lies. It's like a gardener refusing to dig up a seed before it sprouts. You know the growth is happening, even if it's unseen. These 3 days are your time to trust the process, to let God's work unfold beneath the surface. Think of Jonah, who found God's purpose in the silence of the whale's belly. His stillness wasn't punishment. It was preparation, a moment to realign with his calling. Your silence during these 3 days is your whale's belly, a sacred space where God is redirecting you, preparing you for the mission ahead. The world might feel like it's swallowing you, but God is using it to propel you toward your Nineveh. Your silence is also a testimony to your strength. The world equates power with noise, shouting, arguing, proving yourself. But you, chosen one, know true power lies in restraint. By staying silent, you're showing the world what it means to stand firm, to trust God over circumstances. Your stillness is a sermon, preached not with words but with presence, drawing others to the light you carry. The spiritual atmosphere of these days is like a crucible, burning away what doesn't belong. The enemy wants to use that fire to consume you, but your silence turns it into a refining flame. You're not being destroyed, you're being purified, made ready for the blessings God is preparing. Every moment you stay quiet, you're letting that fire do its work, shaping you into a vessel that can hold the abundance of the next season. Imagine a symphony where every note is timed perfectly, every pause deliberate. Your silence during these 3 days is your pause in God's symphony, a moment where the music builds, preparing for a crescendo. The world might rush the tempo, but you're following the conductor's lead. By staying still, you're aligning with his rhythm, ready for the moment the music swells and your life becomes a masterpiece. The enemy will try to exploit your vulnerabilities during these days, whispering lies about your worth, your purpose, your future. But your silence is your shield, deflecting every attack with the truth of who you are in God. It's like standing in a storm with an umbrella, letting the rain slide off while you stay dry. Your stillness keeps you grounded, untouched by the lies that want to pull you under. Think of Deborah, the prophetess who led with wisdom and restraint. She didn't need to shout to command respect. Her quiet confidence spoke louder than words. Your silence during these 3 days is your Deborah moment, a time to lead yourself with wisdom, to trust God's guidance over the world's noise. You're not just surviving, you're stepping into your role as a leader in the spiritual realm. Your silence is also a bridge to the supernatural. These 3 days are a portal, a moment when the veil between heaven and earth is thin. By staying quiet, you're crossing that bridge, stepping into a space where miracles happen. It's like walking into a room where God is waiting, ready to show you things the world can't see. Your stillness opens the door to visions, answers, and breakthroughs that will shape your future. The world will try to make you feel powerless during these days, whispering that your silence is weakness. But that's a lie. Your stillness is your strength, a quiet rebellion against the chaos that wants to define you. You're not just a person, you're a force, a chosen one carrying God's light. Every moment you stay silent, you're proving that no force can dim what God has ignited in you. Imagine a warrior standing on a hill, watching the battle below, not rushing in, but waiting for the right moment. Your silence is that warrior's stance, a position of power, not retreat. These 3 days are your hill, your place to stand and survey the spiritual landscape. The enemy might think they've got you cornered, but you're the one with the high ground, ready for God's signal to move. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a forge, heating the raw material of your spirit to make it stronger. The enemy wants to use that heat to break you, but your silence lets God use it to shape you. You're not being burned, you're being crafted, made into a weapon of light for the season ahead. Every moment you stay quiet, you're letting God's hammer strike, forging you into something unstoppable. Think of Nehemiah, rebuilding Jerusalem's walls while enemies mocked and threatened. He didn't argue or fight back. He worked in focus, trusting God's protection. Your silence during these 3 days is your Nehemiah moment, a time to build your spiritual walls, to fortify your heart against attack. The world might mock, but you're building something eternal, something no enemy can tear down. Your silence is also a gift to your soul. The world pulls you in 1,000 directions, draining your energy with its demands. But these 3 days are yours to reclaim, to pour back into yourself what the world has taken. By staying quiet, you're filling your spirit with peace, strength, and clarity. It's like drinking from a well that never runs dry, letting God's presence restore you for the journey ahead. The enemy will try to make you doubt your calling during these days, whispering that you're not enough, that your silence is pointless. But you know the truth. You're a chosen one, marked by God for a purpose bigger than yourself. Your silence is your answer to those lies, a declaration that you trust God's plan over the enemy's noise. Every moment you stay still, You're stepping deeper into that calling, claiming the destiny He's written for you. Imagine a lighthouse in a fog, its beam cutting through the haze, guiding ships to safety. Your silence is that beam, piercing the spiritual fog of these 3 days. The world might be lost in confusion, but you're a light, showing the way. By staying quiet, you're not just saving yourself, you're guiding others, even those who don't yet see it. Your stillness is a beacon, drawing the lost to God's truth. The spiritual realm is watching you, chosen one, waiting to see how you navigate these dangerous days. The enemy wants to trip you up, but your silence keeps you steady. It's like walking a tightrope with a net below. God's protection catches you, but your stillness keeps you balanced. Every step you take in silence is a step toward victory, a testament to the power of a chosen one standing firm in faith. Chosen ones, as you hold fast to silence on September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're weaving a tapestry of faith that the spiritual realm can't ignore. These 3 days are a divine canvas, and your silence is the thread, stitching together a masterpiece of trust and purpose. The world might see your quiet as a void, but it's a creation, a sacred act of aligning with God's design. Every moment you stay still, you're adding another stroke to the picture of your destiny, one that shines with His glory. The enemy will try to unravel your peace during these days, tossing threads of chaos, petty conflicts, nagging doubts, sudden urgencies. But your silence is a needle, pulling God's truth through the fabric of your life, binding it tight against attack. It's like a weaver working at a loom, focused and deliberate, ignoring the noise outside. Your stillness keeps your hands steady, ensuring the pattern God is crafting remains unbroken, no matter what the world throws at you. Think of a mountain standing firm against centuries of wind and rain. Its silence isn't weakness, it's endurance, a testimony to its strength. These 3 days are your mountain moment, a time to stand tall and unyielding in the face of spiritual storms. The pressures around you, whether from people, circumstances, or unseen forces, can't erode what God has built in you. Your silence is your rootedness, keeping you grounded in His unshakable foundation. Your silence is also a key, unlocking hidden doors in the spiritual realm. The intensity of these days is like a locked gate, guarding the blessings God has prepared for your next season. By staying quiet, you're turning that key, opening pathways the world can't see. It's not about forcing your way through, it's about trusting God to open what no one else can. Every moment you hold your peace, you're stepping closer to the treasures waiting on the other side. Consider Sarah, who waited in faith for a child long after hope seemed lost. She didn't fill the years with complaints or doubts. She trusted God's promise, and her silence birthed a nation. Your silence during these 3 days is your Sarah moment, a time to wait with expectation, knowing God's promises are coming. The world might call it delay, but you know it's divine timing, preparing you for a miracle that will echo through your life. The spiritual currents of these days are like a labyrinth, twisting and turning, tempting you to lose your way. The enemy wants you to wander, to speak out of turn, to chase false paths. But your silence is your map, guiding you through the maze with divine precision. It's like holding a compass that points only to God's truth, keeping you steady no matter how confusing the path seems. Your stillness ensures you won't get lost in the chaos. Your silence is also a flame, burning brightly in the darkness of these dangerous days. The world might try to snuff it out with distractions or doubts, but your quiet faith keeps it alive. It's like a candle in a storm, shielded by your hand, its light unwavering. Every moment you choose stillness, you're fueling that flame, letting it grow stronger, ready to light the way for the season ahead. Your light isn't just for you, it's for everyone drawn to its glow. The enemy will try to make you feel invisible during these days, whispering that your silence goes unnoticed. But that's a lie. In the spiritual realm, your stillness is a thunderclap, a bold declaration of your trust in God. It's like a drumbeat echoing through eternity, announcing that you're a chosen one, unmoved by the world's noise. Every quiet moment is a sound wave, shaking the foundations of doubt and fear, proclaiming your victory. Think of Jeremiah, who spoke God's truth in a world that didn't want to hear it. When he was silent, it wasn't defeat. It was obedience, waiting for God's next word. Your silence during these 3 days is your Jeremiah moment, a time to listen for his voice, to let his truth guide your steps. The world might pressure you to speak, but you know the power of waiting, of letting God's words fill the quiet. Your silence is also a river, flowing with divine peace that carries you through these turbulent days. The world's chaos is like rocks in the stream, trying to block your path, but your stillness keeps the current moving, smoothing the obstacles, guiding you forward. It's not about fighting the rocks. It's about letting God's peace flow around them, carrying you to where He wants you to be. Every moment you stay quiet, you're riding that river, trusting its course. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a forge's heat, testing the strength of your spirit. The enemy wants to use that heat to weaken you, to make you crack under pressure, but your silence is your cooling water, tempering the steel of your soul. You're not breaking. You're becoming stronger, more resilient, ready for the battles and blessings of the next season. Every moment you hold your peace, you're letting God shape you into a weapon of light. Imagine a star shining in the night sky, its light steady despite the darkness. Your silence is that star, a beacon of hope in the spiritual night of these 3 days. The world might not see it yet, but the heavens do. Your stillness is a signal, calling down divine favor, aligning you with God's cosmic plan. Every quiet moment is a pulse of light, drawing His blessings closer, illuminating the path ahead. The enemy will try to make you feel restless, whispering that silence is wasted time. But you know better. Your stillness is a sacred investment, a deposit into the bank of your destiny. It's like planting a seed in winter, knowing spring will come. These 3 days are your winter, a time to sow in faith, trusting God to bring the harvest. Your silence is the soil, nurturing what's to come, preparing you for abundance. Think of Elizabeth, who carried John the Baptist in quiet faith, trusting God's promise despite her age. Her silence wasn't doubt. It was worship, a trust that God's plan was unfolding. Your silence during these 3 days is your Elizabeth moment, a time to carry your calling with quiet confidence, knowing God is working even when the world can't see it. Your stillness is a cradle for the miracles He's preparing. Your silence is also a shield, guarding your heart from the world's poison. The enemy will try to slip in lies about your worth, your purpose, your future. But your quiet spirit is a barrier, keeping those toxins out. It's like a filter on a well, ensuring only pure water flows through. Every moment you stay still, you're protecting your soul, letting God's truth fill you instead of the world's noise. The spiritual realm is like a chessboard during these days, with every move calculated. The enemy wants to corner you, to force a rash decision that tips the game in their favor. But your silence is your master move, a strategy that keeps you in control. It's not about reacting, it's about responding, waiting for God's signal to act. Every quiet moment is a check, pushing the enemy back, setting you up for victory. Imagine a tapestry woven with threads of light, each one a moment of your silence. These 3 days are your chance to add to that tapestry, to create something eternal. The world might see your stillness as empty, but God sees it as art, a masterpiece of faith and trust. Every moment you hold your peace, you're weaving another thread, building a legacy that will shine for generations. The enemy will try to make you feel powerless, whispering that your silence changes nothing. But in the spiritual realm, your stillness is a tidal wave, reshaping the landscape of your destiny. It's like an earthquake beneath the surface, shifting everything into place for God's plan. Your quiet faith is moving mountains, even if the world can't see it yet. Every moment you stay silent, you're unleashing divine power. Think of Moses standing before the burning bush, silent in awe of God's presence. His stillness wasn't fear, it was reverence, a moment of alignment with his calling. Your silence during these 3 days is your burning bush, a sacred encounter with God's voice. The world might rush by, but you're standing still, listening to the one who holds your future. Your quiet is a holy moment, pregnant with purpose. Your silence is also a magnet, drawing divine connections to you. These 3 days are a time when God is aligning people, opportunities, and resources with your path. By staying quiet, you're making space for those connections to form, like a receiver tuned to the right signal. The world might try to fill your space with noise, but your stillness invites the right voices, the ones God has ordained to walk with you. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a crucible, burning away what's temporary to reveal what's eternal. The enemy wants to use that fire to destroy you, but your silence lets God use it to refine you. You're not being consumed, you're being purified, made ready for the glory of the next season. Every moment you stay quiet, you're stepping closer to the version of yourself God is calling forth, a chosen one shining with his light. Chosen ones, as you embrace the silence of September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're stepping into a divine sanctuary, a sacred space where God's voice drowns out the world's chaos. These 3 days are a holy retreat, a moment to shield your spirit from the storms raging around you. Your silence isn't just a pause. It's a fortress built with faith where you stand untouchable. The spiritual currents are fierce, but your stillness is a refuge, keeping you anchored in God's unshakable peace. The enemy will try to breach your defenses during these days, slipping in whispers of anxiety or luring you with distractions that seem harmless. But your silence is a locked gate, keeping those intrusions out. It's like a watchman standing guard at a city's walls, vigilant and unmoved. Every moment you hold your peace, you're reinforcing that gate, ensuring no force can enter the sacred space God is building in you. Your quiet is your strength, a barrier the enemy can't cross. Think of a pearl forming in an oyster, hidden from the world, shaped by quiet endurance. These 3 days are your oyster, a time when the pressures around you are creating something precious within. The world might see your silence as stillness, but it's transformation, a process turning grit into glory. Your quiet faith is the shell, protecting the treasure God is crafting, ready to be revealed when the time is right. Your silence is also a compass, guiding you through the spiritual fog of these days. The enemy wants to cloud your vision, to make you question your path with doubts or false urgencies. But when you stay quiet, you're following God's true north, letting his direction cut through the haze. It's like a sailor navigating by the stars, ignoring the waves below. Your stillness keeps you focused, steering you toward the destiny he's prepared. Consider Rebecca, who trusted God's plan when she left her home for an unknown future. She didn't demand answers or fill the silence with fear. She moved in faith, and God led her to Isaac. Your silence during these 3 days is your Rebecca moment, a time to trust without seeing the full path. The world might press you to act, but you're choosing to follow God's lead, knowing he's guiding you to a future of promise. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a crucible's flame, testing the purity of your faith. The enemy wants to use that heat to make you falter, to push you into rash words or decisions. But your silence is your cooling breath, keeping the flame from consuming you. It's not about avoiding the fire. It's about letting God control it, using it to refine your spirit. Every quiet moment is a step through the crucible, making you stronger for what's ahead. Your silence is also a bridge to divine wisdom. When you step away from the world's noise, you're crossing into a realm where God's insights flow freely. These 3 days are your chance to tap into that wisdom, to receive clarity that cuts through confusion. It's like finding a hidden spring in a desert, refreshing your soul with truth. Your stillness opens the way, letting God's knowledge pour into you, preparing you for the next season. The enemy will try to make you feel trapped during these days, whispering that your silence limits you. But that's a lie. Your quiet is a key, unlocking freedom the world can't offer. It's like a prisoner refusing to rattle the bars, knowing the door's already open. Every moment you stay still, you're stepping into that freedom, claiming the liberty God has given you as a chosen one. Your silence is your emancipation, setting you free from the world's chains. Think of Gideon, who waited in quiet trust for God's signal before facing the Midianites. His silence wasn't fear, it was strategy, a moment to align with God's plan. Your silence during these 3 days is your Gideon moment, a time to wait for divine instruction, to prepare for the battle ahead. The world might urge you to rush, but you're choosing to stand ready, knowing God's timing is perfect. Your silence is also a beacon, shining through the spiritual darkness of these days. The enemy wants to dim your light, to pull you into their shadows with conflict or doubt. But your quiet faith is a lighthouse, cutting through the gloom, guiding you and others to safety. It's not about shouting your presence, it's about glowing with God's truth. Every moment you stay silent, your light burns brighter, drawing divine favor closer. The world will try to drown your silence with demands, emails, arguments, endless tasks pulling at your attention. But you're not here to answer to the world. Your quiet is a declaration that you serve a higher purpose, a divine calling. It's like a king ignoring petty disputes to focus on the kingdom's good. Your stillness prioritizes God's plan, keeping your eyes fixed on the eternal, not the temporary. Imagine a seed buried deep, waiting in darkness for the moment to sprout. Your silence is that seed, holding potential the world can't see. These 3 days are your time in the soil, a season of hidden growth. The enemy might think you're dormant, but you're alive, ready to break through. Every quiet moment is a pulse of life, pushing you closer to the surface, where God's blessings will bloom. The spiritual realm is like a battlefield during these days, with unseen forces vying for control. The enemy wants to draw you into their skirmishes, to make you fight on their terms. But your silence is your high ground, keeping you above the fray. It's not about avoiding the battle. It's about fighting with wisdom, letting God choose your moves. Every moment you stay quiet, you're claiming victory in a war the world can't see. Think of Anna, the prophetess, who waited in the temple, fasting and praying in silence for years. Her stillness wasn't empty. It was worship, a life devoted to God's promise. Your silence during these 3 days is your Anna moment, a time to dedicate yourself to His presence, to prepare for the revelation He's bringing. The world might call it waiting, but you know it's worship, a sacred act of faith. Your silence is also a filter, sifting out the lies that try to take root in your mind. The enemy will whisper doubts about your worth, your purpose, your future. But your quiet spirit is a sieve, catching those lies before they settle. It's like panning for gold, letting the mud wash away to reveal what's true. Every moment you stay still, you're uncovering God's truth, letting it shine in your heart. The intensity of these days is like a storm at sea, with waves crashing and winds howling. The enemy wants to capsize you, to make you panic and lose your way. But your silence is your anchor, keeping you steady in the tempest. It's not about ignoring the storm, it's about trusting God to guide you through. Every quiet moment is a weight added to that anchor, holding you firm in His protection. Imagine a sculptor chiseling stone, each strike deliberate, revealing the masterpiece within. Your silence is that chisel, shaping you into God's vision. These 3 days are your time on the sculptor's table, letting him carve away what doesn't belong. The world might see your stillness as passive, but it's active transformation, preparing you to stand as a monument to his glory. The enemy will try to make you feel alone in your silence, whispering that no one understands your path. But you're not alone. You're connected to God, to thousands of chosen ones standing with you. Your quiet is a thread in a larger tapestry, weaving you into a community of faith. Subscribe to join those souls, to strengthen the bond that holds us together. Your presence amplifies our light, chosen one, making us all brighter. Think of Ezekiel, who stood silent before God's vision, taking in the weight of his message. His stillness wasn't weakness. It was awe, a moment to receive divine truth. Your silence during these 3 days is your Ezekiel moment, a time to stand before God's presence, ready to hear his call. The world might rush past, but you're pausing to receive a vision that will guide your next steps. Your silence is also a weapon of precision, striking at the heart of the enemy's plans. They want you to scatter your energy, to waste your words on battles that don't matter. But your quiet focus is a dagger, cutting through their schemes with clarity. It's like an archer aiming true, ignoring distractions to hit the mark. Every moment you stay silent, you're landing a blow, aligning with God's perfect aim. The spiritual atmosphere of these days is like a riverbed before a flood, dry but ready to overflow. The enemy wants to keep it barren, to stop the waters of God's blessings, but your silence is the rain, preparing the ground for his abundance. It's not about forcing the flow, it's about trusting it will come. Every quiet moment is a drop, filling the riverbed, readying you for the outpouring that's coming. Imagine a warrior donning armor, piece by piece, preparing for battle. Your silence is that armor, each moment strengthening you for the fight ahead. These 3 days are your time to suit up, to let God equip you with his protection. The world might see your stillness as retreat, but it's preparation, making you ready to stand unyielding in the face of any challenge. The enemy will try to make you doubt your silence, whispering that it's pointless, that you're missing out. But your quiet is a seed of power, planted in faith, ready to grow into something unstoppable. It's like a spark in dry grass, small but potent, ready to ignite. Every moment you stay still, you're fanning that spark, letting God's fire build within you, preparing you for a blaze of glory. Chosen ones, as you step into the silence of September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're planting a flag of faith in the spiritual realm, claiming ground for God's purpose. These 3 days are a divine battlefield where your quiet presence is a victory cry echoing through eternity. The world might see your stillness as surrender, but it's a conquest, a bold stand against the chaos that seeks to derail you. Your silence is your banner, waving high, declaring that you're anchored in God's unyielding truth. The enemy will try to shake your resolve during these days, tossing sparks of irritation or flickers of doubt to ignite your reactions. But your silence is a gust of wind, snuffing out those sparks before they catch. It's like a firefighter dousing embers, keeping the blaze at bay. Every moment you hold your peace, you're extinguishing the enemy's attempts, preserving the sacred ground of your spirit for God's work. Your quiet is your power, keeping the flames of chaos from spreading. Think of a tree in winter, bare but brimming with life beneath the surface. These 3 days are your winter season, a time when your silence nurtures unseen growth. The world might see your stillness as dormancy, but it's preparation, a season of storing strength for the spring ahead. Your quiet faith is the sap rising, readying you for a burst of life that will stun those who doubted you. God is working in the hidden places, and your silence lets him. Your silence is also a lens, bringing God's vision into focus. The spiritual haze of these days can blur your path, with the enemy whispering lies to distort your view. But when you stay quiet, you're sharpening that lens, seeing clearly what God has planned. It's like adjusting a telescope to catch a distant star. Your stillness aligns you with His truth. Every moment you refrain from speaking, you're locking onto His purpose, ready for the clarity that's coming. Consider Rahab, who hid the spies in quiet trust, risking everything for God's plan. Her silence wasn't fear, it was courage, a choice to align with divine purpose over worldly pressure. Your silence during these 3 days is your Rahab moment, a time to protect what God is building in you, even when the world demands you act. You're choosing His plan over fear, knowing your quiet faith will lead to salvation, just as hers did. The spiritual currents of these days are like a rushing river, threatening to sweep away anything not secured. The enemy wants you to flail, to speak out of panic, to lose your footing. But your silence is your anchor, holding you fast against the current. It's not about fighting the river, it's about standing firm, letting God's strength keep you steady. Every quiet moment is a chain linking you to His unshakable foundation, ensuring you won't be moved. Your silence is also a mirror, reflecting the enemy's tactics back at them. They'll try to provoke you, to draw you into their game with taunts or temptations. But when you stay quiet, you're turning their weapons against them, exposing their futility. It's like a martial artist redirecting an opponent's force, using their momentum to defeat them. Your stillness disarms the enemy, showing them their schemes can't touch a chosen one rooted in God. The world will try to fill your silence with noise, endless notifications, urgent demands, voices questioning your path. But you're not here to dance to their tune. Your quiet is a refusal to play their game, a choice to follow God's melody instead. It's like a musician tuning out the crowd to hear the conductor's beat. Your stillness keeps you in rhythm with His plan, moving you toward a symphony of blessings the world can't imagine. Think of Samuel, who listened in silence for God's voice as a boy. His quiet wasn't ignorance. It was readiness, a heart open to divine instruction. Your silence during these 3 days is your Samuel moment, a time to hear God's call clearly, to let His voice shape your next steps. The world might clamor for your attention, but you're listening for the one who matters, ready to respond when He speaks. Your silence is also a seedbed where God is planting promises for your future. The enemy wants to scatter weeds, doubts, fears, distractions, to choke out those promises. But your quiet faith is a gardener's hand, clearing the soil, nurturing what God has sown. It's not about forcing growth, it's about creating space for it. Every moment you stay still, you're tending the garden of your destiny, preparing for a harvest that will overflow. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a crucible's fire, burning away what's impure. The enemy wants to use that heat to break you, to make you speak out of frustration. But your silence is your shield, protecting you from the flames. It's like a blacksmith tempering steel, using the fire to strengthen, not destroy. Every quiet moment lets God refine you, making you a vessel ready for His glory. Imagine a lighthouse enduring a storm, its beam steady despite the crashing waves. Your silence is that beam, cutting through the spiritual tempest of these 3 days. The world might be tossed by the storm, but you're fixed, shining with God's light. Your stillness isn't just for you. It's a guide for others, a signal that peace is possible even in chaos. Every quiet moment strengthens that beam, drawing divine favor closer. The enemy will try to make you feel small, whispering that your silence is insignificant. But in the spiritual realm, your quiet is a mountain, towering over their lies. It's like a peak rising above the clouds, untouched by the storm below. Every moment you stay still, you're claiming that high ground, standing firm in God's truth. Your silence is a monument, testifying to your power as a chosen one. Think of Mary Magdalene, who stood quietly at the cross, her faith unwavering despite the world's despair. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was devotion, a trust that God's plan was bigger than the pain. Your silence during these 3 days is your Magdalene moment, a time to stand firm in faith, even when the world feels heavy. You're not just enduring, you're testifying, showing God's strength through your quiet resolve. Your silence is also a river, flowing with divine peace that carries you through these turbulent days. The enemy wants to dam that flow, to block it with chaos or doubt. But your quiet spirit keeps the river moving, washing away their obstacles. It's like a stream carving through rock, steady and unstoppable. Every moment you stay still, you're letting God's peace carry you, guiding you to the blessings ahead. The spiritual realm is like a chess game during these days, with every move critical. The enemy wants to force you into a corner, to make you react and lose your position. But your silence is your master strategy, keeping you in control. It's not about rushing to checkmate. It's about playing with wisdom, waiting for God's move. Every quiet moment is a step toward victory, outmaneuvering the forces that want to stop you. Imagine a tapestry woven with threads of gold, each one a moment of your silence. These 3 days are your chance to add to that masterpiece, to create something eternal. The world might see your stillness as empty, but God sees it as art, a work of faith and trust. Every quiet moment is a thread, weaving a legacy that will shine for generations, a testament to your calling as a chosen one. The enemy will try to make you doubt your worth, whispering that your silence changes nothing, but your quiet is a thunderbolt, striking through the spiritual realm, shaking the foundations of their lies. It's like lightning splitting the sky, revealing truth in a flash. Every moment you stay still, you're unleashing divine power, proving that no force can dim the light God has placed in you. Think of Zechariah, silenced by God before John's birth, his quiet a preparation for a miracle. His stillness wasn't punishment, it was purpose, a time to trust God's plan. Your silence during these 3 days is your Zechariah moment, a season of preparation for the miracles God is bringing. The world might see it as loss, but you know it's gain, a step toward the promise He's fulfilling. Your silence is also a magnet, drawing divine connections to your path. These 3 days are a time when God is aligning people, opportunities, and resources with your destiny. By staying quiet, you're opening space for those connections to form, like a radio tuned to the right frequency. The world might try to jam the signal, but your stillness keeps it clear, inviting the right voices to speak into your life. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a forge, heating your spirit to make it stronger. The enemy wants to use that heat to weaken you, to make you crack under pressure. But your silence is your cooling water, tempering you for the battles ahead. You're not breaking, you're being forged, shaped into a weapon of light. Every quiet moment is a strike of the hammer, crafting you into God's masterpiece. Imagine a star blazing in the night, its light piercing the darkness. Your silence is that star, shining through the spiritual night of these 3 days. The world might be lost in shadows, but you're a beacon guiding the way. Your stillness isn't just for you, it's a light for others, drawing them to God's truth. Every quiet moment strengthens that star, making it brighter, ready to illuminate the season ahead. Chosen ones, as you hold your silence on September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're stepping into a divine rhythm that pulses with God's purpose. These 3 days are a sacred heartbeat, each moment of quiet aligning you with the tempo of heaven. The world might try to drown it out with its clamor, but your stillness is a song resonating with the eternal. Your silence isn't just absence of sound. It's a melody of faith, sung in the Spirit, declaring your trust in God's unchanging plan. The enemy will try to disrupt this rhythm, throwing offbeat distractions, petty arguments, fleeting worries, or urgent demands to break your focus. But your silence is a metronome, keeping you steady in God's time. It's like a dancer moving to an unseen beat, ignoring the crowd's chaos. Every moment you stay quiet, you're locking into his cadence, moving gracefully through the storm, untouched by the world's discord. Think of a seed buried in fertile soil, waiting for the right moment to break through. These 3 days are your soil, rich with divine potential, and your silence is the water that nurtures it. The world might see your stillness as barren, but it's a season of hidden growth, preparing you for a vibrant bloom. Your quiet faith is the life force, pushing you toward a breakthrough that will dazzle those who underestimated you. Your silence is also a shield, deflecting the enemy's fiery darts. The spiritual intensity of these days will bring attacks, doubts, temptations, or provocations aimed at your heart. But when you stay quiet, you're raising an invisible barrier, letting those darts fall harmlessly away. It's like a knight holding a shield, unmoved by the onslaught. Every moment you hold your peace, you're standing firm, protected by God's unbreakable armor. Consider Leah, who lived in Rachel's shadows, yet trusted God's plan in quiet faith. Her silence wasn't defeat, it was strength, a trust that birthed a legacy. Your silence during these 3 days is your Leah moment, a time to trust God's purpose even when the world overlooks you. You're not competing for attention, you're resting in His promise, knowing He sees you and is crafting your story. The spiritual currents of these days are like a swift river, pulling at anything not rooted. The enemy wants you to drift, to speak recklessly and lose your way. But your silence is your anchor, keeping you grounded in God's truth. It's not about fighting the current. It's about standing firm, letting His strength hold you steady. Every quiet moment is a chain, linking you to the rock of His unyielding faithfulness. Your silence is also a window, opening to divine clarity. The fog of these days, confusion, pressure, or doubt, can cloud your vision, but your quiet spirit lets God's light shine through. It's like cleaning a dusty pane, revealing the view beyond. Every moment you stay still, you're wiping away the haze, seeing His plan with new sharpness, ready for the path He's unveiling. The enemy will try to make you feel powerless, whispering that your silence is futile. But in the spiritual realm, your quiet is a tidal wave, reshaping the landscape of your destiny. It's like an ocean swelling, silent but unstoppable, carving new paths. Every moment you hold your peace, you're moving mountains, shifting realities with the force of your faith, unseen by the world but felt in the heavens. Think of Joshua, who marched around Jericho in silence, trusting God's strange command. His quiet wasn't weakness. It was obedience, a faith that brought walls crashing down. Your silence during these 3 days is your Jericho moment, a time to circle your challenges in faith, knowing God will bring victory. The world might mock your stillness, but you're preparing for a triumph that will echo through your life. Your silence is also a flame, kindling God's presence in your heart. The enemy wants to snuff it out with distractions or doubts, but your quiet faith keeps it burning. It's like a torch in a cave, lighting the way forward. Every moment you stay still, you're fueling that flame, letting it grow brighter, ready to illuminate the blessings God is preparing for your next season. The world will try to pull you into its chaos, endless tasks, conflicts, or pressures demanding your voice. But you're not here to answer to the world. Your silence is a declaration that you follow a higher call, a divine purpose. It's like a king ignoring petty squabbles to focus on the kingdom's future. Your stillness prioritizes God's plan, keeping you fixed on what's eternal, not fleeting. Imagine a river carving through stone, steady and relentless, shaping the earth over time. Your silence is that river, cutting through the obstacles in your path. These 3 days are your time to flow, to let God's peace erode what stands in your way. The world might see your quiet as inaction, but it's transformation, reshaping your destiny with every moment you stay still. The enemy will try to make you feel isolated, whispering that your silence cuts you off. But you're not alone. You're connected to God, to thousands of chosen ones standing with you. Your quiet is a thread, weaving you into a tapestry of faith. Subscribe to join those souls, to strengthen the bond that unites us. Your presence adds to our light, chosen one, making us all brighter in these dark days. Think of Simeon, who waited in quiet faith for the Messiah, trusting God's promise through years of silence. His stillness wasn't emptiness. It was expectation, a heart ready for divine fulfillment. Your silence during these 3 days is your Simeon moment, a time to wait with hope, knowing God's promise is near. The world might rush past, but you're standing ready, eyes fixed on His coming glory. Your silence is also a sword, cutting through the enemy's lies with precision. They'll try to tangle you in webs of doubt or provocation, but your quiet spirit slices through their schemes. It's like a blade honed sharp, striking true without effort. Every moment you stay still, you're wielding that sword, clearing the way for God's truth to guide your path. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a storm brewing, with clouds heavy and winds fierce. The enemy wants to use that storm to scatter your focus, to make you react in fear. But your silence is your shelter, keeping you safe in the eye of the tempest. It's not about hiding. It's about standing firm, letting God's peace shield you from the chaos swirling around. Imagine a sculptor shaping marble, each chip deliberate, revealing the form within. Your silence is that chisel, carving you into God's vision. These 3 days are your time on the sculptor's block, letting Him shape you with care. The world might see your stillness as passive, but it's active creation, preparing you to stand as a monument to His grace and power. The enemy will try to make you doubt your purpose, whispering that your silence is wasted. But your quiet is a thunderclap in the spiritual realm, shaking the foundations of their lies. It's like a quake beneath the earth, unseen but powerful, shifting everything into place. Every moment you stay still, you're unleashing divine force, proving your calling as a chosen one. Think of Esther's handmaidens, who prepared her in quiet devotion for her moment before the king. Their silence wasn't insignificance. It was service, readying her for destiny. Your silence during these 3 days is your handmaiden moment, a time to prepare your spirit for the royal calling God has placed on you. The world might overlook you, but He sees, and He's dressing you for greatness. Your silence is also a beacon, drawing divine opportunities to your path. These 3 days are a magnet, pulling God's blessings closer as you stay quiet. It's like a lighthouse, calling ships to shore, guiding what's meant for you. The world might try to distract you, but your stillness keeps the signal clear, inviting the resources, people, and moments God has ordained. The spiritual realm is like a battlefield at dusk, with shadows lengthening and dangers lurking. The enemy wants to ambush you, to catch you off guard with sudden attacks. But your silence is your watchfire, burning bright, keeping the darkness at bay. It's not about fighting every shadow. It's about standing in the light, letting God's presence guard you. Every quiet moment strengthens that fire, ensuring you shine through the night. Imagine a weaver threading a loom, each strand building a greater design. Your silence is that thread, weaving God's purpose into your life. These 3 days are your time at the loom, creating a tapestry of faith. The world might see your stillness as empty, but it's a work of art, a masterpiece of trust that will hang in the halls of eternity, testifying to your calling. The enemy will try to make you feel restless, whispering that your silence delays your progress, but your quiet is a rocket, building pressure for a launch into God's plan. It's like fuel gathering in an engine, ready to propel you forward. Every moment you stay still, you're storing energy, preparing for a takeoff that will carry you into a season of breakthroughs, leaving the enemy behind. Chosen ones, as you embrace the silence of September 28th, 29th, and 30th, you're stepping into a divine current that carries you closer to God's purpose. These 3 days are a sacred tide, flowing with spiritual power, and your silence is the vessel that sails it. The world might try to rock your boat with distractions or doubts, but your stillness keeps you steady, gliding toward the destiny He's prepared. Your quiet isn't just a pause. It's a journey, moving you through the waters of faith. The enemy will try to stir those waters, sending ripples of chaos, small provocations, nagging fears, or sudden pressures to capsize your peace. But your silence is a rudder, guiding you through the turbulence with divine precision. It's like a sailor navigating stormy seas, eyes fixed on the horizon. Every moment you hold your peace, you're steering clear of their traps, staying on course with God's unshakable plan. Think of a caterpillar in its cocoon, hidden from the world, transforming in quiet darkness. These 3 days are your cocoon, a time when your silence nurtures a metamorphosis within. The world might see your stillness as isolation, but it's preparation, reshaping you into something radiant. Your quiet faith is the chrysalis, protecting the miracle God is crafting, ready to emerge in a new form when the time is right. Your silence is also a shield, guarding your spirit from the enemy's arrows. The spiritual intensity of these days will bring volleys, temptations, doubts, or conflicts aimed at breaking your resolve. But when you stay quiet, you're raising an invisible barrier, letting those arrows glance off harmlessly. It's like a warrior deflecting blows with a shield, standing firm. Every moment you refrain from speaking, you're fortified by God's protection, untouchable by the enemy's schemes. Consider Ruth, who worked quietly in Boaz's field, trusting God's provision without demanding attention. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was faith, a trust that led to a legacy. Your silence during these 3 days is your Ruth moment, a time to move in humble confidence, knowing God is guiding you to favor. The world might overlook your quiet, but He sees, and He's leading you to a harvest beyond your dreams. The spiritual currents of these days are like a windstorm, howling with forces that want to uproot you. The enemy will try to make you sway, to speak impulsively and lose your grounding. But your silence is your root, anchoring you deep in God's truth. It's not about resisting the wind. It's about standing firm, letting His strength hold you steady. Every quiet moment is a taproot, digging deeper into His unshakable foundation. Your silence is also a lantern, casting light on God's path for you. The darkness of these days, confusion, pressure, or fear, can obscure your way, but your quiet spirit lets His truth shine through. It's like a flame piercing the night, revealing the road ahead. Every moment you stay still, you're illuminating His plan, seeing with clarity the steps He's laid out for your next season. The enemy will try to make you feel powerless, whispering that your silence achieves nothing. But in the spiritual realm, your quiet is a volcano, simmering with divine power, ready to erupt. It's like magma building beneath the earth, unseen but unstoppable. Every moment you hold, your peace, you're stoking that fire, preparing for a release of God's glory that will shake the world around you. Think of Daniel, who prayed in silence despite the king's decree, trusting God's protection. His quiet wasn't defiance, it was devotion, a faith that shut lions' mouths. Your silence during these 3 days is your Daniel moment, a time to stand firm in faith even when the world forbids it. You're not just avoiding trouble, you're inviting miracles, trusting God to deliver you from danger. Your silence is also a bridge, connecting you to divine opportunities. These 3 days are a time when God is aligning doors, people, and resources with your path. By staying quiet, you're crossing that bridge, stepping into the connections he's prepared. It's like a traveler finding a path through a forest, guided by unseen markers. Your stillness clears the way, inviting the blessings meant for you. The world will try to drown your silence with demands, texts, arguments, tasks pulling at your focus. But you're not here to answer to the world's chaos. Your quiet is a declaration that you follow a higher rhythm, God's rhythm. It's like a conductor ignoring the crowd to lead the orchestra. Your stillness keeps you in tune with his melody, moving you toward a symphony of divine favor. Imagine a potter spinning clay, shaping it with gentle, steady hands. Your silence is that clay, yielding to God's touch during these 3 days. The world might see your stillness as passive, but it's transformation, letting him mold you into a vessel of purpose. Every quiet moment is a turn of the wheel, refining you for the glory he's preparing to pour through you. The enemy will try to make you feel alone, whispering that your silence isolates you. But you're not alone. You're joined with God and thousands of chosen ones walking this path. Your quiet is a thread, weaving you into a tapestry of faith. Subscribe to stand with those souls, to strengthen the light we share. Your presence makes us brighter, chosen one, uniting us in God's purpose. Think of John the Baptist, preparing in the wilderness, his silence a prelude to his prophetic voice. His quiet wasn't retreat. It was readiness, a time to align with God's call. Your silence during these 3 days is your wilderness moment, a season to prepare for the message God is giving you. The world might rush by, but you're standing still, readying your heart for his mission. Your silence is also a sword, slicing through the enemy's illusions. They'll try to weave webs of doubt or temptation, but your quiet spirit cuts through with truth. It's like a blade flashing in the dark, exposing what's hidden. Every moment you stay still, you're striking at their lies, clearing the way for God's reality to take hold in your life. The spiritual intensity of these days is like a crucible's heat, testing your faith's purity. The enemy wants to use that fire to consume you, to make you speak out of fear. But your silence is your cooling stream, tempering you for strength. It's not about avoiding the heat, it's about letting God use it to refine you. Every quiet moment is a step through the fire, making you a vessel for his glory. Imagine a star blazing in a stormy sky, its light steady despite the clouds. Your silence is that star, shining through the spiritual tempest of these 3 days. The world might be lost in the storm, but you're a beacon guiding the way. Your stillness isn't just for you. It's a light for others, drawing them to God's truth. Every quiet moment strengthens that star, making it brighter for the season ahead. The enemy will try to make you doubt your calling, whispering that your silence is pointless. But your quiet is a thunderbolt, splitting the spiritual darkness with divine power. It's like lightning striking a tree, sparking new life. Every moment you stay still, you're unleashing God's force, proving your purpose as a chosen one, unshaken by their lies. Think of Hannah's silent prayers offered in faith when her heart was breaking. Her quiet wasn't despair. It was hope, a trust that birthed a prophet. Your silence during these 3 days is your Hannah moment, a time to pour out your heart to God, knowing he hears. The world might see your stillness as empty, but it's full of promise, carrying the seeds of miracles. Your silence is also a magnet, drawing divine wisdom to your spirit. These 3 days are a time when God's insights flow freely, if you're quiet enough to receive them. It's like a radio picking up a clear signal, free from static. Your stillness tunes you in, letting his truth guide your next steps, preparing you for the opportunities he's aligning. The spiritual realm is like a chessboard at midnight, with every move shadowed but critical. The enemy wants to trap you, to force a reckless play, but your silence is your strategy, keeping you one step ahead. It's not about rushing to win, it's about waiting for God's move. Every quiet moment is a check, pushing back the enemy, setting you up for divine victory. Imagine a weaver crafting a tapestry, each thread deliberate, building a greater design. Your silence is that thread, weaving God's purpose into your life during these 3 days. The world might see your stillness as nothing, but it's a masterpiece, a work of faith that will shine forever. Every quiet moment adds to that tapestry, creating a legacy of trust and power. The enemy will try to make you feel restless, whispering that your silence delays your destiny. But your quiet is a rocket fuel, building pressure for a divine launch. It's like a spring coiling, ready to release. Every moment you stay still, you're gathering strength, preparing for a takeoff that will carry you into a season of breakthroughs, leaving the enemy's lies in the dust.